It is my great honor to introduce our first teller for the night. And this first teller is Bob Nuffer. Now, what I have done is I've done extensive interviews with all of these tellers, and then I've cherry-picked a few key things about them that will just help you understand a little bit more about where they are coming from. Now, Bob Nuffer, Bob believes in doing good in the work in many, many small ways that you might not even notice. Like, Bob is one of those people that always returns his grocery cart inside the store. Yes? Bob is somebody who is always scraping the gum off from underneath the tables in the library. Bob is somebody who he is never without a lollipop for a child or a little milk bone for a dog. But Bob, I told them I wouldn't tell him about that time that you got him mixed up. And that, the parents of the child who got the milk bone, they weren't happy at all. But the preponderance of all of his efforts are very, very good. And that is no lie. So please welcome to the stage with thunderous applause, Bob Nuffer.
Hi, I'm Bob. Now this is the place where you say, "Hi, Bob," like an AA meeting. I am a storytelling addict. It all began when I won second place in the first annual Story People of Clallam County Liars Contest. Well, it went to my head. It was just such an exciting experience. And I started downward spiral into the addiction of storytelling. And I started practicing on my family. I started going to the story swaps. I went to liars contests. I went to story slams. I went to festivals and spoke and shared. I told stories every time I could turn around. I told all my clients stories. They got bored with it. It started getting really bad. It got to the point where I wasn't satisfied just doing locally. So I joined the National Storytelling Network, and I began going to other cities to listen to stories and maybe tell stories if I could. And I went to Columbus, Ohio, and Washington, D.C., and Chicago, and just all over the place. Well, my wife got worried about the budget, because we were spending so much money traveling that she was trying to increase our income so we could afford this. Now, she is a minister, and so she was trying to book as many funerals and weddings and paid things that you can get. And, you can only hustle so many religious services. So she got to the point where she knew that she had to expand her income. And so she looked into her counseling skills and developed a specialty. And she began to work with families of extraterrestrials. And there are pockets of them all over the country. So she would coordinate a series of sessions with a liars contest or a story festival, and we'd go together, and she'd work with the family. And she'd use slogans like extraterrestrials need love too, and extraterrestrial lives matter, hug your extraterrestrials, they're people too, and to give them pride in themselves. Well, it got to the point that I really loved storytelling, and I began to get more and more into it. And I went to the Holy Grail of storytelling, which is the National Storytelling Festival in Jonesboro, Tennessee, and heard some great stories. And there I met with Donald Davis. And I talked him into adopting me, taking me home for a month and let me pick his brain. And so he told me many, many stories. And a favorite genre he uses is called Jack stories. Well, I changed them to Bob stories to make them personal. Because, I mean, there are a lot of great Bobs out there. There's Bob Hope, and there's Bob Dylan, and lots and lots of Bobs, including Boba Fett from Star Wars. You know, these are salt-of-the-earth guys. And so we need much more Bob folk tales rather than all these Jack tales. And so I'm advocating for that. So I began to learn how to speed read so I could take in more and more and more stories to feed my avaricious need for more stories to share. And got to the point where I could read 1,200 words a minute. I was reading 5 to 10 books a day. I was reading science fiction, folk tales, children's stories. I was even reading romance novels. It was just anything to feed the hungry wolf inside me. I was a junkie. There was no doubt about it. So I was invited to go to Radio City Music Hall and present in a famous festival there. And I thought, well, this is a neat opportunity. But up till now, I'd avoided going to the Big Apple because I was afraid of being mugged. And so to prevent anything bad happening, when I left the hotel room, I only took my ID and a small amount of cash. I'm taking the subway to Radio City Music Hall, and lo and behold, I use the restroom there, and I get mugged by a roving party of Dungeons and Dragons advocates. Well, they were enraged that I didn't have much of value on my person. And so they got their magician to do a mind meld on me, and he stole all my stories. Well, I passed out. I mean, that's quite an ordeal. When I woke up, they were gone. My Bob stories, my folk tales, my Bob Dylan stories, my mosquito story, my talking dog story, they were all gone. Even the story that I stole from Ingrid Nixon. I mean, you know, I liked other storytellers and I admired them, and I would borrow tales from them. And she had told this story about putting beans up her nose and then developing great mental prowess because of that. So I changed it around a little bit. I changed it to peas, put peas up my nose. They grew. I became a genius. I won the Nobel Prize in medicine for coming up with developing anti-aging pills. Well, and then another time I told a story about convincing Pete Carroll to draft oh my gosh, I'm blocking on his name, but the quarterback. You know, this happens with senior moments. Well, I told this story. Half the people weren't football fans. They couldn't even remember who Pete Carroll was, or Russell Wilson. That's his name. Yeah. And it was gone. But all these were gone. So I went to Radio City Music Hall. I'm thinking, what should I do? The show must go on. So I told a story of what happened to me when I was coming there. They didn't believe me. I mean, would you? But going cold turkey like that allowed me to stop going all over the country telling stories. I was feeling much more at ease, that I was clean and sober. I still love story lying contests, but I'm no longer addicted to winning, and I can quit at any time.